This session will be focused on implementing a level timer, the level start screen, and the UI widget for completing a level. Starting from the UI widgets folder, I'm just going to make a new widget blueprint for the level complete screen. This will be very similar to the death UI screen. Select an image from the palette pane to use as a placeholder and center it up. If you want to make it full screen, that's totally fine as well. I'm just going to grab some text to indicate that the level has been completed. If you were good at graphic design, you could create your images outside of the engine, including the text and themes for your game, and import them at this stage. That is not my skill set. For me, I just use simple objects. Now I need two buttons, one to advance to the next level, and one to return to the starting level. I'm thinking something like a quit to start screen option. Drag text right onto the button and it'll act like the button label. I'm going to set the same green highlight when I hover, just like I did for my death screen UI. At first, all I need is the button to react to the click event, so I'm just adding something simple. Also notice the improper naming of the variable button. It gets very difficult to follow your variables on the graph screen if you have bad names. So let's fix that now by going back to the designer. If you select the object in the hierarchy pane, it will highlight it for you in the main window, so you can tell what the name should be, and change it in the details pane. I probably won't do a print string as I get better with the engine, but for now I just need to know that when I click the button it will in fact do something. Now head into the blueprint for the touch and win actor. I can delete the U1 string and add a construct widget node. Set its class to level complete and add it to the viewport. For this setup, I do have to show the mouse cursor by ticking the little box in the node or it won't work. It's easier to find the show mouse cursor node by right-clicking in the empty space and searching. And remember to get the player controller and hook it up to the object pin. I like to play through what I have so far just to see what will happen. As you can see, the widget comes up properly, however I can still move around behind it, but clicking the buttons does fire the print strings, and my hover effect also works properly. Let's head back into the blueprint for Touch and Win Actor and add a Disable Input node. There's a few other ways to achieve this, but I think this will work for now. Actually, it doesn't. It does the same thing. What I need to do is tell the engine to disable the input after I cast to the character. That way I can connect the character object to the target in the input node. After the Set Show Mouse Cursor node, drag into a Cast to 2D side-scroller character, connect the object pin to the target pin of the Disable Input node, and remember to get the player character for the object of the cast node here. And that works. Now I can't move the character, but I can still move the mouse properly. Now we can set up the timer. Head back into Widget Blueprints. We already have a HUD set up, so we can use that and add another line to it. I'm okay with copying the lives text and just changing it to time. You can also copy the text block above it. We'll eventually set a binding to it. We just need a variable to assign it to. We'll assign this variable to the 2D character blueprint. Remember to rename this text block in the details pane so that you can properly reference it. Again, there could be a better way. However, a game like this one is centered around having only one playable character, so this is good for what we need to do. Make some room, this blueprint is about to get some additions. The animation section can move. I don't want to mess it up because it's working pretty well so far. This is just the space I'm putting the timer in. I want it to update on the tick, and for this actor, here's our tick event. Unreal Engine has a built-in Get Game Time in Seconds node, which we can use for the timer. We'll also create a level timer variable. Tick the box for Expose on Spawn and click the eye icon. Once that's done, pull an executable from the false branch connected to our isDead variable, so the game timer will tick up if we are live. Connect it to a set level timer node, and then right back to the update animation. Now we can go back to our HUD blueprint and cast to 2D side-scroller character and get the level timer value, which should just display in our HUD. And the default timer works perfectly. However, it extends out to the third digit in time, which I don't love. For a game like this, I'd like it to just count in seconds. The easiest way, I think, is to just convert the float to an int right in the widget blueprint. and because I used the pause game state, the timer will stop when I die. But I have a feeling I'll need to add this when I complete the level. Yep, see, when the level completes, the timer still ticks up because the game isn't pausing. So easy fix, just go into the Touch and Win blueprint and add the Set Game Paused node and it'll fix that. The last step for this session will be to create the starting level UI. The goal of this, when we set out, was to keep it simple and just have two buttons, one to start the game and one to quit the game. If you have starter content loaded, there's an extra folder for maps. So just make sure you know where you want to store your levels. Mine will be in the 2D side-scroller BP folder called Maps. For what I want to do, a new level will work well. It'll be a basic plain level that just pulls up a widget blueprint on begin play. So once the level is created, we can head over to the Widget Blueprints folder, create a new widget blueprint called Start Screen, and like the other three widgets we've made, just keep it simple. Add an image to use as a background, which will be full screen this time. Really, you can leave this out if you want for now. Having a plain black background is completely fine too. Let's add our two buttons, one to start the game and the other to quit the game. These buttons are identical to all the other buttons we've made. Drag a button from the palette, size it up, name the variable, one for quit, one for play. I took some extra time to size them, then added the text. And like the other buttons, I added the green highlight. The nodes for these two buttons are very simple. When the user clicks the play button, we want it to open a level by name. We don't have a save feature at all. This is like early 90s Nintendo style, so calling the level by name is just fine. Except we do need to remember exactly what the level is called. There we go, so now we need to quit the game when the user clicks quit. It took me a surprising amount of time to find this out, but there's a built-in node called quit game, which will serve our purpose here nicely. Once that's done, we can play the level, and nope, we gotta call up that UI widget in the viewport. First, I need to edit the character blueprint one more time, find the begin play event node, and here we'll add a branch to check the level name. If the level name matches our start level, we'll hide the character. After the event begin play node, use get current level name, then use a string equals boolean as the branch condition. If I were wise and wrote down my level names, I would have them available, but I need to check the exact spelling. Pull the false executable into the setIsReplicated node, and the true branch into a Create Widget blueprint and add that to the viewport. That way, once we play the first level, it'll open only the UI widget we want, and the last thing is to show the mouse cursor when it loads. The test here is to load the level, play the game, and here we go, it loads into the first level. We can play the level and win. Oh right, the level complete blueprint could use an update as well. It'll be the same as our level start option, we'll just load the starting screen. We'll also update the death UI because we now have the level to load. From here we can start spawning level after level. There isn't much to it for now, but that's okay. This is when we can really dive into level design.